Knicks family, what's poppin' is your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been getting emails, calls, texts, DMs about Kai Sotto. So we're going to break down his game. And by the end of this video, determine, is he hype or is he the real deal? How would he fit with the New York Knicks? And will they draft this young man? Let's go. The second annual NBK draft party in Atlantic City. There'll be a live podcast, live DJ, live video shoot. $40 for a VIP ticket, $30 for draft night only. Get your tickets now. For more details or to purchase your tickets to the NBK draft party, there's a link in the description of this video, and one just popped across the top of your screen. You have until about June 20th to make your purchase, ladies and gentlemen, so please get that done. Now, let's get to Kai Sotto. The young man is 20 years old, and he just turned 20 on May the 10th, ladies and gentlemen. He's 7'2", 240 pounds, obviously plays the center position, and he hails from Las Piñas in the Philippines. He'd be the first Philippine-born player in the NBA. He last played for the Adelaide 36ers in the NBL, where he averaged 7.5 points per game, just under a block per game, and 4.5 rebounds per game. Shot 50% from the field, 38% from the three-point line, and 69% from the free throw line. Right now, Sotto was on everybody's radar. So most of your general fans who are just learning about him are going to recognize him from the NBL and obviously as a draft prospect. But he also played AAU basketball in the United States for the Skill Factory. He also played with that team on an international level. But I do think it's good experience that he's been able to play in the United States, understand the way the game is played here. It's going to go a long way with him transitioning to the NBA. He didn't get a chance to play in the G League. There were some COVID issues that stopped him from playing in the G League for the Ignite. So that AAU experience helps him to transition. Now that we have an overview of Kai Sotto, I want to take a look into his skill set. I'm not just going to break down his strengths and his weaknesses, but we're going to look at attributes that I believe will transition or translate to the NBA. And if you watch my videos, you know that footwork is very, very important to me. So this is the first thing we're going to look at, footwork. We're going to take a look at a video, just one single clip that I believe displays his potential to be a big man that has very good footwork. Because in this clip, he displays an assortment of footwork techniques. Let's take a look. You'll see him jab step to the left and then stab to the left so he can spin back to the right, fake it, back to the left, pump fake, and then steps through for a strong layup. Ladies and gentlemen, that was an impressive array of footwork techniques. The question is, will it translate to the NBA? That was on a high school level. I'll say this, footwork normally translates. It's about the speed and the strength. Does he have enough speed and strength right now for his footwork, an array of moves, to translate to the NBA? I'm not exactly sure. It's a great question. You tell me. Leave it in the comment section. But he's 20 years old. He'll have time to build his speed, to build more strength, so that those moves can translate to the NBA. Now, you might have noticed in that clip that he had the ball in his left hand as if it was his dominant hand. But after he goes through his array of moves and then steps through, he finishes with his right hand. Now, his trainer, Jeremiah Boswell, on the Lakers Nation podcast explains the advantages that Sotto might have being able to score with both hands around the rim. Take a listen.
Kai is actually right-handed, that he writes with his right hand. He just happens to play basketball left-handed. And of course, LeBron James is the same way, just the inverse. He's left-handed, but plays basketball with his right hand. Is that an advantage for Kai that he tends to do things with his right? Like, does that make his offhand stronger compared to a typical player, or is there maybe no impact?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge when you think about bigs, right? So much of what they do historically, and even just in pick and roll play, right? they're playing around the rim. They're in the lane, right? Even those little short roll floaters. And to have the option to go with either hand is critical. It's huge, right? Like, you're not getting your shot blocked, by trying to shoot with your inside hand. And so I think that's really big for him. I think he's actually even going to have go-to moves on the block with his right hand because he's just so comfortable either way. And like we said, he's good off his left foot as well. And so when you go off your left foot, it's natural to go right hand. So I think that's a big part of his upside. I think, like I said, I think one of his go-to moves will end up being a righty little kind of a quick floater, not really a hook, kind of an in-between shot. So I think it's a huge advantage.
So while we veered off just a bit and spoke about his ability to use both hands around the rim, we established that he has good footwork, and it should translate to the NBA. And you're seeing in that clip, ladies and gentlemen, that he can operate from the mid-post using that footwork. He can operate in the low post using that footwork. And footwork, it extends to every single part of the basketball game, and it seems evident that he has good footwork, and he'll continue to develop his footwork. Let's talk about another part of his game, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the ability to put the ball on the floor, because he's shown glimpses of doing so. Take a look. In this clip, he's got the ball on the wing. He takes 1, 2, 3 hard dribbles to the left, spins back using that footwork, and finishes with the right hand. And then in this clip, he sets a screen, pops off the screen, catches the ball at the top of the key, throws a pump fake, puts the ball on the floor, and goes to the rack, ladies and gentlemen. Glimpses of him being able to put the ball on the floor, and coupled with footwork, he's able to execute scoring plays. And he seems to have an arsenal. You see him here in the mid-post, knocking down a mid-range jump shot. In this next clip, you'll see him in the short corner, turns, faces, jab step, knocks down the mid-range jump shot. And then again, at the top of the key, he sets a screen, rolls off the screen instead of pops, and catches the alley-oop dunk. Ladies and gentlemen, he has the skill set, but does he have the strength and the speed? I'm going to go back to that. Because in the NBA, defenses are tougher. Guys are going to get up in your face. Seeing those clips, the defenders, they let him shoot. They didn't want him to dribble past. In the NBA, they're going to be up on him. Can he execute at that level? I'm not sure he can right now. I think he needs some time to develop the strength and the speed. But as a Knicks fan, I'll say this. It's been a very long time since the Knicks have had a center that can knock down a mid-range jump shot, that can put the ball on the floor and go to the basket, that can knock down a three, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to talk about that next. Not the fact that he can knock it down, but his shooting form. Will it translate to the NBA? That's what I'm concerned with. So here's what I'm looking for. Is he focused on the rim, or is he looking at somebody he might want to pass to? His eyes should be focused on the target. His stance, is it balanced? Are his feet shoulder width apart? If you have a good balanced stance, then you're probably square to the rim. Ball location when he catches it. Some people like to call it a shot pocket. Where is it? His release point. Does he release it from his chest, in front of his face? Or does he create a nice triangle and release it above his head? Does the ball rest on his fingertips, or is it in his palm? If the ball's in his palm, it's probably going to shoot flat. If it's in his fingertips, he probably gets a nice backspin, allowing the ball to bounce around the rim if it's just a little bit off. Does he have a nice follow through, and does he hold the follow through? And when he catches the ball, does he catch it on his toes, allowing him to raise up and shoot without having to get set? Okay, so let's stop it right here, and let's go ahead and break this down. And we'll go back to number one, his focus. And you can see in the clip, his eyes are focused on the rim. Now, he's in practice, so there's no other players to focus on. But in practice, You can see his eyes are focused where they should be. And if you go back and look at other clips of him playing in the NBL and other leagues, when he shoots, he does focus on the rim. Now, let's take a look at his stance. You can see his feet are shoulder width apart. Maybe a little bit more, but that's okay because he's square to the rim and he's balanced. His knees and hips are in a position where if a defender closed out, he could pump fake and then put the ball on the floor and go to the basket. Or he could stay on a pivot foot and use his footwork to create a shot. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a good, strong stance that allows him to capitalize on whatever the defense may decide to give him. Now, let's bring this clip back and take a look at the ball location or the shooter's pocket. You can see it's in a nice spot. When he catches it, he doesn't drop it and then bring it back up to shoot it. He keeps it chest high, ready to launch. A lot of young players catch the ball, drop it, and then bring it back to shoot it. But when they drop it, it gives the defense extra milliseconds to close out. This is good coaching from Sotto's trainers. And as we let the clip go, you'll see the ball is in a really nice release position. He creates a triangle with the ball above his head. He's not looking to the left or the right of the ball or above the ball. He can see the rim through that triangle. The ball is resting in his fingertips, not on his palms. This way, he gets a nice rotation on the ball when it's released. And when he finally releases the ball, he releases it at the peak of his shot, which allows him to hang over defenders. And then he has a really nice follow-through, and he holds the follow-through. I love the fact that he stays on his toes when he gets into his shooting motion. This is a key skill for any jump shooter, in my opinion. It allows you to come off screens, catch the ball on your toes, and quickly get in the air and release. Or if you're in a catch-and-shoot situation, the ball is swung to you, you catch it on your toes, you're in the air. Evan Fournier does this very well. It can also benefit you in the pull-up game. If you go hard to the left or the right, one dribble, two dribble, pull-up, the defense continues going in the opposite direction, but you were able to get on your toes and get up in the air. If you're in the mid-post, jab step, you're on your toes, maybe a dribble and a step back, knock down the mid-range jump shot because you're on your toes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a key skill for a jump shooter, and he has it. For the most part, ladies and gentlemen, that's a textbook jump shot, and I believe it's going to translate to the NBA. And here's why. He has good shooting habits. And when you play any sport and you receive increased pressure or increased defense, your body naturally falls back to its habits to get past that defense or pressure or aggression. So if you have good habits, it's falling back on good skills. He has good shooting habits. So when you have faster closeouts in the NBA, he still has the same shooting stroke. When the ball is moving faster, he still has the same shooting stroke. When guys are moving up the court in transition and he's catching it, expected to catch it on his toes and let it go, he still has the same shooting stroke. That's why I think it's going to translate to the NBA. Now, we spoke about his footwork and the potential for him to score in the post or the mid-post. We spoke about his ability to score within feet of the rim with both hands. We spoke about his ability to put the ball on the floor from the wing, from the corner, one dribble, two dribble, spin, to the hoop, score. We spoke about his ability to knock down the mid-range or knock down the three-point shot. We broke down his form, and it's good. It translates to the NBA. But ladies and gentlemen, he's shown potential in other areas of his game. He can catch the ball at the top of the key and hit cutters, slice into the basket. He can do the same from the mid-post. He's shown the ability to set one screen, two screens, three screens, and still roll or pop. Offensively, he seems to have a good basketball IQ. Defense, ladies and gentlemen. This is my biggest concern. He's shown the ability to block shots on and off the ball. He's 7'2". Athletic, smart. He'll be able to block shots. Not my worry. I worry about him in open space. In the NBA, they're going to run screen and roll at him all night long. Will he be able to get low enough to defend smaller guards out on the perimeter? This is where I am concerned. I'm not sure if he has the lateral quickness to stay in front of these guards for at least a little bit. That's my biggest concern defensively. My biggest concern. Now, other big men, I think he'll be okay. He might get beat up down low a little bit because he's young and he's not strong enough yet and he needs the power. We get that. That's going to happen. But what happens when he gets caught in a situation where he has to defend a guy that's 6'9", 6'10"? I still am concerned if he can get low enough to defend them. This is an area that he needs to work on. Now, his trainer had the discussion on Lakers Nation about his progress in defending out in open space. Take a listen.
I think he's gotten a lot better. I think being able to take the lens of having worked with him a few years back and seeing where he's at now, I can see progress. I think if you look at the micro level, from 2 weeks ago to today, it's harder to notice that progress. But overall, I would say he's making progress. But I also think one thing that's really helped him, and I can see in his growth, is that he's so long, right? He's 7'2", wingspan is really long, and so he used to not understand how to make up ground with his length. So if he gets beat laterally, he didn't understand how big he was and how stretching out could block a shot, contest a shot, change a shot. And now, not only is his lateral quickness improving, I feel like he understands his length and can go get a block and can go change and alter a shot and make that 3-point on a switch a little less comfortable for a guard. So he's starting to understand that too, which I think is a big part of being a better defender.
Now, his trainer seemed a little bit suspect about whether or not he could defend in space. He cleaned it up, though, and said he's making progress and talked about that he's learning to use his length. But ladies and gentlemen, his ability to defend smaller guards in the screen and roll is going to be pivotal in his ability to stay in the NBA. That pick and roll is the most used play in the league, ladies and gentlemen. So he's got to figure it out. And look, he's got good trainers. And I think they know that he's 7'2". It's hard for him to get that low. He's long. So his lateral quickness, naturally, it's going to be slower, right? But folks, we've been talking for a while about Kai Sotto, breaking down his game, and we could go on forever. It's about time is he hype or is he the real deal? I'll say this, there's definitely some hype around the young man, and well-deserved. But when you break down aspects of his game, key aspects, like fundamental aspects, his footwork, his ability to shoot, he can dribble a little bit. You've seen it. He can put the ball on the floor. These things are fundamental skills that translate to the NBA. He's got to get stronger. He's got to get faster. He's got to strengthen his lower core. He's 20 years old. He has time. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a real deal prospect. He's got hype around him, but he's a real deal prospect because he has these fundamental attributes and skills that translate. Bottom line, in my opinion. Now, does this mean he's a top 10 pick? No. I don't think he's a first-round pick right now because he's still a project. And I think he's got a lot to learn. Will he go in the second round? I think so. I think he'll be a second-round pick. I'd be surprised if someone took a flyer and drafted him in the first round. But hey, if they do, good luck to you. Will the Knicks draft him at 42? Will he be there at 42? That's the question. If he's there at 42, and especially if the Knicks don't re-sign Mitchell Robinson, then yeah, it's possible that they could draft Sotto at 42. And ladies and gentlemen, he fits and checks off a lot of dots for the New York Knicks, or whatever you want to call it. Dots, boxes, whatever. I mentioned it earlier in the video. He can shoot the ball from the mid-range. The Knicks don't have that in a center. Neither Mitchell Robinson nor Nerlens Noel can shoot the ball from the mid-range. Taj Gibson can, but he's situational. And you're not building a team with Taj Gibson. Nerlens Noel nor Mitchell Robinson can shoot the ball from the three-point line. Taj Gibson can a little bit, but again, you're not building your team with Taj Gibson. Neither one of those guys, Nerlens Noel nor Mitchell Robinson, can put the ball on the floor and go to the basket. Kai Sotto can do all of those things, ladies and gentlemen. So he checks off a lot of things on your list that you want in a center on the offensive side. Now, I've said that he can block shots, but can he be a prolific shot blocker like Nerlens Noel or Mitchell Robinson? Can he defend in space like Nerlens Noel or Mitchell Robinson? Those are going to be key aspects. So when you talk about his fit with the New York Knicks, on the offensive side, he fits a lot of things that need to be done because he can expand that offense with his ability to shoot the ball and put it on the floor, et cetera, et cetera. But will he be a liability defensively? It makes it a tough decision for the New York Knicks. But at 42, I'm taking a flyer on him at 42. Without a doubt, I'd take a flyer on him. Because he seems like a kid who can learn it. He's been trained a lot throughout his lifetime by very good coaches. So he understands, and I think he has the work ethic to get better. So yes, I would take a flyer on Kai Sotto at 42. As a matter of fact, I might even trade up to get higher in that second round if I really, really like him. And he has worked out for the New York Knicks. Would I take him if the Knicks were to move up into the late first round? Would I take him in the late first round? I'd have to think about that because that's guaranteed money. I'd have to think about it. I might, but I'd have to think about it. But ladies and gentlemen, there's your answer, man. He's the real deal. He's a real deal prospect, and he fits some things that the Knicks need on the offensive side. Maybe not on the defensive side, but I think he can build that defensive acumen. I hope you like what I laid down for you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your time. Please make sure that you get your draft tickets. I know it's been a long show, a long video. So make sure you get them, ladies and gentlemen. The link is in the description of the video. I'm out. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.